Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's Debs here. Thank you guys so much for coming back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to another video, guys. So I'm outside right now in Grand Prairie, Alberta. It's now 7:30 p.m. at night. It's getting very dark because winter is coming. A couple weeks ago, this was boiling sun out still. Now it's night. Night. That's how you know winter is coming. Guys, don't forget to smash a like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and drop a comment, right? What I'm gonna be talking about right now, guys, is what are some of the secrets that I think can, aid in you being successful in your study permit application. I'm not an immigration consultant, lawyer, affiliate, anything of the sort, but what I am is somebody who have been through the process myself, did my study permit application myself back in 2019, didn't use a consultant, and I was successful. And I'm gonna be sharing what it is that I think are those things that made my application successful, right? And I'm going to be sharing it with you guys so that your application can also be successful. Bear in mind that this was back in 2019, so a lot of things might have been changed. So you want to make sure that fundamentally you're doing your own research. Nothing beats that. Nothing beats that, right? Make sure that you're going on IRCC's website and do your own research to give yourself the best chance of success. Okay. Now, if you guys are new here, I'm a Jamaican. I migrated to Grand Prairie as an international student. I came with my family, which consists of my wife and daughter at the time. My wife got a spousal open work permit and my daughter got a visitor's record. Now, we did not apply together. And that is my first step. Everybody's application together and submit it all at once. But here's the thing with that, guys. The likelihood of success decreased significantly. Because one of the biggest things that IRCC use to vet your application is your home ties. Now, using your family, spouse, and children as your home ties is way better than using your extended family or even physical assets that you might have in your home country, to include house, car, land, stuff like that, because all of those assets can be disposed of. But what's the likelihood of you get rid of your spouse and children? Not very likely. So IRCC values that you have home ties, which is usually your spouse and dependent children. Now, when you apply to together, you can't use your spouse and dependent children as your home ties. Now, when you apply as an individual, you can use them as home ties. Also, when it comes down to proof of funds, when you're just proving funds for yourself, you have to show a lot less funds than what you'd have to show for an entire family. So that is why the likelihood of success decreases. Now, is it possible for you to be approved if you apply together? 100%. But the chances is very slim. You might know 1 in 10 person who have gotten through. And you might be the 1 person, or you might be the other 9 person. Is that a risk that you are willing to take? What I did, I applied for myself first, and then as soon as I got my approval, I submitted my wife's open work permit application, and I just simply added my daughter's visitor's visa application and my wife's application. Now, one of the things that I also think was very useful in my application was the fact that I chose a rural community to study in. I studied in Grand Prairie, Alberta, which is not considered to be a major city, even though it's significantly growing. Now, I find that when you apply to go to the bigger cities, it is more competitive. And even if you have a very good application, you might still be refused just based on the fact that the college or the city or the town might have reached its capacity. So you might just be refused on the basis that you have bad timing, right? But the likelihood of that happening in a smaller city is significantly lower, and the chances of success really increases when you go to a more rural town. So consider studying in a rural town, especially in Alberta. Another thing I think is that was very influential in my approval was a letter of support that I got from my wife's family member who was already living in Grand Prairie that stated that they would have been providing accommodation. Now, that letter of support was really important for me because I didn't have a lot of funds to prove that I could cover tuition and also 1 year's living expenses. So having a letter of support to show that I have somewhere to stay and live was also very influential in my approval, I think. And I'm always grateful for that. Now, I think that IRCC looks on your application on a holistic point of view. Like, for example, what is your current skill level? What is your occupation right now in your home country? What is your level of study? What program are you doing? How is it going to benefit you in your future? Now, all of these things are things that you have to address in your letter of explanation, guys. Do not underestimate the value of your letter of explanation. Your letter of explanation is the single most important document you can put into your study permit application. The letter of explanation is going to be what is explaining everything to the visa officer as if you were in front of them. Applying to come to Canada is not like applying to go to other countries where you have an interview process. Everything is done online, and your documents is what will speak for you. So anything you think is a little bit off with your application, anything you think that you'd want the visa officer to know about your application, you want to put this into your letter of explanation. Now, what is the average size that your letter of explanation should be? Some person says 3-page, 4-page, 5-page. I really say it doesn't matter as long as you're able to get all the relevant information on that letter. So it can be 1 page. My letter of explanation was 1 page. It could be 2 pages, it could be 3 pages, but when I start going 4 and 5 pages, yeah, you want to probably reduce it, because you're dealing with a human being and they have a lot of application and they might not have enough time to sit and go through 5 pages of letter. So make it as condensed as possible, giving all the information. Why you want to study? Why did you choose that particular city? Why did you choose that school? Why did you choose that program? How is that program going to be beneficial to you when you finish and return to your home country? Because even though they know it's a load of BS, you're not going back to your home country, because once you get to Canada, there's so many things that are in place to keep you in Canada. But one of the things is you have to try as best as possible to demonstrate to the officer that your intention is to study, and then as soon as you're done studying, your intention is to return back to your home country, because a study permit gives you temporary status in Canada. And like any other temporary application, home ties and proof that you're returning home is very, very, very important. Now, I believe that my success was strictly based on proper planning. I did a lot of research. As it relates to the city that I was going, the program that I was choosing, and even as it relates to the cost of living in a particular city. The letter of explanation that I wrote, and again guys, apologies for the noise in the background, I'm actually outside. The letter of explanation that I wrote detailed everything. Detailed my plans, detailed my intention, detailed the reason why I chose the city. I even go as far as saying that, listen, I have never even seen snow before, and going to a place where snowfall is prevalent is going to be an adventure. And you make it personal. Make it personal. Now, don't overcomplicate your application by watching tons and tons and tons and tons of other videos where persons share, well, everyone is just sharing their experience, but some persons make the process seems a lot more difficult than it is. And what that does, it causes persons to overthink the application process, and to probably make mistakes, to probably not include vital documentation that they should submit, and just in general just be very anxious about their study permit application. But the truth and in fact, Canada wants you. Canada wants you to come to Canada and study, because when you come to Canada and study, it doesn't only help with the immigration process, but it also brings significant strength to the Canadian economy. Because as we know, international students in Canada pay as much as 4 or 5 times more than a domestic student. So it's economically sensible for Canada to want you. So don't overthink your application, simplify your application. Make it as simple as possible by providing the relevant documentation, and make it make sense. Make it make sense. Another tip that I would give to prospective international students is choose where you go very wisely. Do not go to the popular cities because you know somebody who went there. You have a friend there. Somebody said, hey, you should come here. But what they don't tell you is that they have been there for years, and they have already had a foundation there, and they probably are able to afford the exuberant rent and are very competitive in the job market. But as a new immigrant who is looking for that job, who is looking for that apartment, you might not be so lucky. So choose somewhere that you can survive on your own. So if you're even going to a big city, make sure that you're able to survive on your own financially, because international students don't make a lot of money. We know the truth. International students don't work a lot of money. International students don't have enough time to work. International students have to be focusing on school. So with that being said, try to choose a city that is very cost affordable to your pocket and will not cause you to be overburdened and will not ultimately cause you to default on your study permit application. Alright guys, if this is of any way of significance to you guys, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my walk. I'm going to take you guys with me a little bit just to show you guys what Grand Prairie is looking like at night time. Alright guys, so come on.